Hey, Yugioh. I guess I could try it again. Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 2, and if you were here last week, you will know that I didn't play Yu-Gi-Oh! For over 7 years and I'm just returning. Last week was my first time going back to the store and buying some cards and making a makeshift deck there with the cards I bought. But when I got back home, I still had the itch to do more, so I went online and looked for card stores. I found Card Market, where I bought about 20 different cards for my scrap deck. The payment system was a bit weird, so it took a while to get paid, but I ordered them and it's Wednesday today and they haven't arrived yet, but I hope they will arrive before Saturday, so I will give you an update on that later in the video. The other thing I did was I didn't have a deck box, so instead of just buying a normal deck box, I decided to make one myself. And so I 3D modeled this here. I made a deck box with my name and logo on it, up here too, that separates into two different parts. It also has separate compartments for side, extra and main deck. And it has a rubber band in here so I can't accidentally drop it. This took me about 30 minutes of designing in Fusion 360 and then printed for one day back here on my 3D printer. I really like how this turned out. Now all we have to do is wait for the cards, and I will give you an update before Saturday, so later on in the video you will see how that will turn out. It is Saturday. Sadly, none of the cards that I ordered have arrived by now, but that doesn't matter because we have a working deck, so it's time to pack everything up and head to the store to find somebody to play. And we're back from the store, and let me tell you what a day this was. Not only did I play my first game, I also got a ton of new cards, and not only did I trade a couple of my old cards against new cards I need, I also met my friend Leon there, who is a huge collector and who just literally gave me a ton of expensive cards for free. He said he'd much rather give them to somebody who needs them and uses them and support them than keep them in the folder where they're never gonna get used. So I'm like hugely grateful for that. So I want to show you now, before we get into the game footage, which cards I traded and also which cards I got from Leon for free. So let's switch to a top-down view and I will show you all the cards I got. So first I'm gonna start out with the cards that I traded with materials I already had. I got my third scrap golem, which is kind of very important for a scrap deck. Now I finally have 3 and it's very useful. I got 2 danger monsters, Nessie and Tsuchinoko. I still need Jackalope, but I got those for some of my cards. And then I got Trishula and Nightmare Unicorn, which are also, like, Trishula is not as important for my deck, but Nightmare Unicorn definitely. But I played Trishula and I love this card from back then, and it was very cheap. So I got 5 cards as a trade, and I also actually sold one of my cards to a collector there. So basically this money that I made from selling that card goes back into the budget that I spend on Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So you're gonna find the full breakdown of all the costs at the end of the video in an overview sheet like last week. So now let's start with the cards that Leon gave to me as a gift. So let's start with the side deck. He gave me 3 cards, and I'm gonna point out right here, I don't know all the English names, just some of them, so I'm gonna put the card on the screen somewhere so you can see the original. 1 Red Rain, 1 Never Ending Nightmare, and 1 artifact card that I don't know the name of. So those go into the side deck. Next up, we get to the main deck. 1 spell card, 1 for 1. 1 Mecha-Phantombeast O-Lion, which is very important because I can search it with Scrap Recycler and it gets a token. And then a playset of 3 cards of this Unchained Soul something, which is just a special summon. And next up, for the extra deck, which is the biggest part that he gave me. So let's start out. It was 3 synchro monsters. Formula synchro, so I can get to Shooting Star Dragon and then 2 other ones. And then there's 1 XYZ monster, Castell. And the rest are Link monsters. Nightmare Cerberus. Nightmare Phoenix. Decoder Speaker. Topologic Cerberus. And I don't know the names of the rest of those 4 in English, but I'm just gonna put them here. And I will put the card names on screen. So those are all the cards I got. I put them all in my deck for the games that we played. And I didn't use a lot of them, but I used some. So you will have to see what it's gonna be like. So let's get on over there. So we start with rock, paper, scissors and he wins. So he decides to go first. He puts down a Tenji and then summons any quest. He then links them both together and gets out a Test Panther. With Test Panther he searches for a spell card, which is Gladiator Beast Comeback. He then uses it to get back his quest, and then he shuffles it back into his deck to get an Augustus. With that he gets another Augustus, and then he uses both the Augustus to fusion summon a Gladiator Beast Tamer Editor. With Editor he gets out a Gyzarus, and then he passes turn to me. I start out with a Scrap Factory, and then I put down a Foolish Burial to get 1 monster in my graveyard, and I choose Scrap Goblin. I then reveal my Danger Tsuchinoko from the hand, and I make him choose 1 card. He chooses the wrong one, he discards Scrap Storm, so the card gets summoned. I use Tsuchinoko to normal summon Scrap Golem, and with Golem I get back Goblin. I then synchro summon them both into Stardust Dragon because I don't have a Scrap Dragon yet. I attack his Test Panther with my Goblin, doing some damage to his life points, and then I pass turn. He starts by flipping up his trap card, which is a Brigandine, which summons a token. He then uses the token to link summon into 1 Link Spider. He then uses Link Spider's effect to summon a normal monster, which is Gladiator Beast Andal, and he link summons 3 monsters into Draco Masters of the Tenji. He then uses it to attack my Stardust Dragon. I take 100 damage, and he decides to pass turn. I really don't have anything at this point, so I just set 1 card and pass. He changes his Tamer to attack mode, attacks my face down Scrap Mindreader, and then attacks directly and passes. I just set 2 cards and pass back. He attacks my face down Lion-O, which creates a token, so he attacks the token and then passes. I draw into nothing, just a Scrap Golem, so I just decide to scoop it up and go for the next round.
Round 2. Fight.
On the second round I decide to go first, and I draw a terrible hand with 3 field spell cards. So what I do is I summon 1 Scrap Worm, and then I use Scrap Storm to draw another card. Scrap Storm then puts my Scrap Golem into the graveyard, and with the Scrap Worm effect resolving I get Scrap Golem back to my hand. I then just set 1 card in my back row and pass turn. He starts out by summoning Gladiator Beast Bestiari, and he attacks me directly for 1600 damage. He then shuffles it back into his deck and summons a Gladiator Beast Atorix. Through that effect he gets 1 Gladiator Beast Noxious in the graveyard, he sets 1 card in the back row, and then passes turn. I start out by special summoning a Cyber Dragon, and then I use Lightning Vortex and discard Scrap Beast to destroy his monster. I then tribute summon for Scrap Golem, and with Scrap Golem I get Scrap Beast back on the field, and I also set 1 face down card in the back row. I then attack him directly for 3900 damage and pass turn. He starts out by using Unexpected Die to summon 1 normal monster, and he gets out Andal. He then uses Gladiator Rejection and uses his Andal to summon 1 Link Spider. With the Link Spider he summons another Andal, and then he tries to special summon Test Tiger, which I negate with Solemn Judgment, and I lose half my life points. He then instead goes into Test Panther and uses Gladiator Comeback to summon his Artorix back to the field. A Torix then goes back into the deck and he summons one Gladiator Beast Equest. He then attacks my Scrap Beast with his quest and then special summons Vespasius, which gives 500 attack points to all monsters, so he destroys my Scrap Beast and he also destroys my Scrap Golem with his Vespasius. He then also attacks directly with his Test Panther and passes turn. I use my Lightning Vortex and discard Scrap Searcher, and then I pass turn again. He special summons his Tenji and then uses Gladiator Comeback to special summon his Equest. He then attacks me directly with the Equest, and in the second main phase he gets his Darius from deck, and with Darius he also gets Noxious from his graveyard. He then passes turn. I don't draw anything useful, so I normal summon a Scrap Worm, with which I attack directly. Its effect resolves, and also Scrap Search's effect resolves in the graveyard, which gets special summoned, and through Scrap Worm I get one card back to the hand, which is Scrap Beast. Then there's nothing left for me than to pass turn. He link summons into Test Panther, then his Noxious goes back into his deck, and he attacks my Scrap Searcher and destroys it with his Test Panther. I actually luckily draw into Monster Reborn, so I use it and get back my Scrap Golem. Now I have to figure out what I'm gonna do next. I decide to normal summon a Scrap Beast and I use Golem's effect to summon Scrap Worm back from the graveyard. I then attack directly with Scrap Worm, triggering its effect and giving me back a Scrap Searcher to my hand. I destroy his Test Panther with my Scrap Golem, and then I try to go for game with my Scrap Beast, but he flips his Brigandine and summons a token. So I pass turn. He uses his Tenji's effect in the graveyard to bounce back my Scrap Golem, and then he passes back to me. I start by putting down a Scrap Factory and then tribute summoning my Scrap Beast for Scrap Golem, immediately getting it back with the effect. Then I try to attack, but he reveals a Noxious, which blocks my attack, so I have to destroy the Noxious with my Beast and then pass turn again. He just sets one face down card and passes back to me. I use Golem's effect to get back my Scrap Worm. Then I use Scrap Worm and Scrap Beast to link summon it into Nightmare Phoenix. I discard my Scrap Searcher from my hand and I destroy his back row face down card. Then I attack his face down card with my Golem and attack for game with Nightmare Phoenix.
Round 3. Fight.
On game 3 he starts out with a strong combo. He puts down Unexpected Die and Drones. He gets a token from Drones and summons Andal with the die. He then link summons into Test Panther and gets a Gladiator Beast Comeback to the hand. Then normal summons Rescue Rabbit, which gets him 2 more Andals to the field. He shuffles one of them back into the deck to get out a Gladiator Beast Augustus, which gets him out a Bestiari. He then fusion summons them into a Gladiator Beast Gizarus. Then uses its effect to get out a Tamer Editor, and with Tamer Editor he also summons a Heraklinos. Then sets one card and passes to me. I start with putting down the Scrap Factory and then I set 3 and pass back to him. He starts with summoning Domitianus, then he shuffles back his Heraklinos, which gets him an Atorix. Atorix gets him 1 card in the graveyard as well. He decides to attack my face down card with his Domitius, but I flip my Mirror Force and destroy his attack position monsters. So he passes turn. I flip my Scrap Searcher and use Scrap Breaker to target it. It gets destroyed by its effect, so Scrap Factory allows me to summon 1 monster. I summon a Scrap Goblin and then use my Scrap Breaker as a tribute summon for my Scrap Golem. With Scrap Golem I get back out my Scrap Searcher. And now it's time to Synchro Summon for Trishula. Trishula banishes 3 of its cards, 1 from his hand, 1 from his deck and 1 from his graveyard. And this is where the camera died. So here's what happened. I attack his face-up defense monster with my Trishula and destroy it, and then I pass turn. He tries to activate a spell card, but I negate it with Imperial Order, so he passes back. I draw Call of the Haunted, set it, and attack him with Trishula directly. He gets nothing on his turn, so he just passes back to me. I activate Call of the Haunted, get back my Scrap Golem, use its effect to get my Scrap Worm, and then I attack with all 3 monsters for game. And that's it. I actually won. I don't know how. I'm pretty sure Leon let me win like 95% sure. I think he probably had some odds that he didn't play and he just wanted me to feel good, but I'm gonna take it as a win. I did make a couple of mistakes here and there, even though I had somebody help me with my cards, but I learned so many different things that I can do now with the link monsters and whatnot, and I learned about gladiator beast decks, and yeah, the game was really fun for me and it really showed me why I love this game so much. And the good news is, it seems like in 2 or 3 weeks local tournaments will be picking up again, so I get to play against more people, because now there are only always a few people at the store, but when the locals pick back up again there will be more, so we will see how that will turn out. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the advanced editing that I did with all the cards and so on. If you liked this video and if you liked this series, feel free to subscribe and press the bell button to get notifications when I upload a new video. There will be a new video every week when I play, so feel free to follow. And also please, if you have any criticism or any feedback that you want to give me, please tell me down below in the comments. I would love to hear what you have to say about the video. I hope to see you soon in the future in the next videos. Until then, see you next time. Bye!